What's good, everybody? Davidson, Crooks here, Crooks Process here, or Fast Break here, probably for Radio Utery for always sport. Riding solo tonight. Locke had a travel day, but I here with you to break down the news and sports around the world of basketball. On tonight's show, I'm talking about the young and the old. Are the Detroit Pistons for real, or just kind of like a hot spurt early in the season? Plus, the LA Clippers seem like they're in trouble right now. Old roster, Chris Paul retiring, and James Harden trying to show the low at 35. Can it turn things around, or will things get worse as the season goes along? I'll talk about it and that much more on the show tonight. So after these few short messages, I'll catch you on the other side of things. But this is Fast Break here, Friday Sports Radio, Utery for always sports. I'll talk to y'all in just a minute.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. iSports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back to the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us here tonight. D-Locke has a travel day with us, so I will be with y'all all day on this lovely broadcast here on November the 23rd. Before we get started, if you do celebrate Thanksgiving, please be safe on your travels. Hope you have a good turkey day, all that sort of stuff. So, I know things are changing in the world, so be safe out there, eat good, fellowship, I know the holiday season is like, a different vibe for folks and all that stuff. So just be mindful for others and just be nice and be kind for everybody. So happy holidays to y'all, and then have a good Thanksgiving from us from here, from Fast Break here, Friday Sports Radio. So I want to get up here and I want to talk about two things here tonight. I want to talk about the young and the old. And I got to start with the young because, we always in society look for the next fresh thing, new big thing, young thing that we can latch on and and ride on for years. And, some of y'all probably saying, well, listen to saying, well, not always. Some of y'all, we like the oldies and sometimes they kind of want steady pace. Well, that's true. But I think in this instance in the NBA, we always want something new because the old gets stale very quickly. And tonight, I want to talk about this team here, the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are white hot right now. White hot right now. This team is on a 12-game winning streak right now. I did not foresee this. I'm pretty sure if D-Locke was here, I don't think he'd probably foresee this. I think, we both had him making the playoffs because, the East, we kind of see how the East has been playing out right now. Without Halliburton and Miles Turner, the Pacers, they're down, basically. The Wizards, they're down. The Hornets, they're still in rebuild process. And LaMelo Ball is trying to ask for a trade, which y'all can do that. Find the best trade partner that y'all can do it. If you're I don't know who the Charlotte GM is, but do it. If he's asking out, make the trade. Just do it. I'm telling you, just do it. Hell, even swap with John Morant will work. But anyways, having said that, so you knew like some of these teams in the East would be in the dumps in a sense. And pull up the standings real quick. Got it in front of me. So you knew they're going to be the dumps. You knew Brooklyn's going to be in the dumps in rebuild process. So that's at least 4 teams right there. I said, we kind of pegged that's going to be in the dumps. And you had a chance. You Detroit, okay, I got these 4 teams here. So after that, you basically talking about playing level where you're at right now. But we did not foresee them winning 12 games in a row right now. Mind you, you had guys like Kay Cunningham miss a couple games, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, who I'll talk about here in a second, missed some games. Sure, Thompson. So a lot of guys been in and out of the lineup, but this team is still very, very successful. And so much so that I think JB Bickerstaff right now should be the early coach of the year favorite. Like, let's talk about the game yesterday against the Milwaukee Bucks. They went 129 to 116. Kay Cunningham had 29 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, and 1 steal, 1 block. Jalen Duren, 19 points, 6 points for him, 5 assists. Off the bench, Isaiah Stewart, 7 points for him. But I think the main one is like Jaden Ivey coming back to the fold of things. 10 points for him, 2 assists, 1 steal. I think that goes a long way for this team and for this depth of this team, that if they can get all the horses ready to go healthy, I think they'll carry a very long way for this team and its success. Now, you got Ivy coming back. He had the leg injury. Let me pull my information up. He had the broken leg, knee surgery. So, it's going to take a little while to get his legs under him, quote unquote. But, his comeback, adds another explosive guard to this rotation already led by Kay Cunningham. And then, you're missing guys like Marcus Sasser to injury, who plays very well for you off the bench and does good spot duty when he starts. So if you get that three guard, point guard rotation, that combo guard rotation going with Detroit, and you got guys on the wing like Duncan Robinson, Asur Thompson, Tobias Harris, Ron Holland, LeVert out there, you got a pretty good damn depth right there. Handling the ball and on the wings. Then your front court is pretty solid. I mean, Tobias Harris could play that small ball forward, and Thompson as well. But Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, Javonte Green. I'm going to take it back. Javonte Green more of a shooting guard, but it's Paul Reed. Excuse me, I was thinking about the wrong person. Paul Reed, who's an excellent energy guy for you. So I think, you could maybe look for another big man, but damn, talking about the depth and stuff like that, talking about the drafting, the kind of picking at the key figures, key guys in free agency like Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson. I would say Malik Beasley, and granted, he played well for them last year. You can't take that away from him, wherever his financial issues is. He played well for y'all down, in moments during the season last year. So the Pistons, they white hot. They had beaten Milwaukee Bucks, and on the Bucks side of things, no Giannis in that game. He was out. Ryan Hollins. He had 24 points, 7 assists. Bobby Porter's in the starting lineup, 18 points there. AJ Green, 15 points for him. So, I mean, Miles Turner, 11 points for him, who really how can I put it like this? Like, Miles Turner was a good signing, but it's just I guess we're still waiting, but it's like, was it an upgrade over Brook Lopez? Yeah, when it happened, you get younger at center and whatnot. But boy, it really hasn't translated like we had hoped. Now we're talking about 3 days after Thanksgiving and whatnot, so maybe things could change. But I figure, damn, come in, dominate, not dominate, but come off, feed off Giannis, average at least a good double-double. At least help stretch him for a little bit. Easy streak mostly. Probably playing with the best guy ever probably played with in the NBA, and Giannis. So Miles Turner just really kind of been a disappointment this far in the season. And his old team, the Pacers, have really made fun of that as well. The shade is strong. Kind of like the shade like Cleveland Cavaliers fans to Carlos Boozer all these years later. I think it's going to be that type of shade for the rest of his career. So, anyway, back to the Pistons. They beat the Bucks on Saturday. After that, they had a few days off. Beforehand, they played the Hawks. They went 120-112 in that matchup. Cunningham, 25 and 10 assists, 6 rebounds. Jalen Duren, 24 points right there for him, 8 rebounds. Duncan Robinson, 14 points for him. He goes to the bench. Green, 9 points. Thompson, come off the bench, 6 points for him. Lanier, 9 points. So you get guys deep in your rotation, giving you key moments and stuff like that. And I think, what we have seen the past few years, like these teams that had kind of bottomed out for the past few years, like OKC, like a Detroit, like a Cleveland. You know, I'll I put them in here, even though they should be better. The Orlando Magic, the San Antonio Spurs. Like we're kind of seeing now, like these teams that have been bottoming out in a sense over the past few years. Now you kind of see the draft picks and stuff like that. Now you kind of see them kind of rising up and kind of have that sustainability, right now. OKC, best team in the league. Got the reigning MVP. Jalen Williams is out right now. Should be back here soon, hopefully. But look at the drafting them. Jalen Williams, a late lottery pick. Chet Holmgren, top 3 pick. So you draft those guys, and you draft the other guys, later round, second round, later first round picks, stuff like that. And then, okay, the young guys now got add the younger guys. Okay, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein. They're kind of filling the voids. Now we're cooking. Now we're moving forward. Look at Detroit. Okay, drafted Cade Cunningham. Took a little while. The injuries, you kind of start to question that, about him. Then you draft guys like Jay Nivey. This guy, you had that insurance plan, and Cade Cunningham don't work out. The draft day trade of Jalen Duren, drafting guys like Isaiah Stewart, long beforehand. Marcus Sasser, Stuart Thompson. Now, you got things rolling and stuff like that. Got a coach now in JB Bigstaff at the Monty Williams. And damn it, I thought that was gonna be a good setup for Monty there to grow with those young guys, but it just didn't work out. Excuse me. Now, JB Bigstaff in the fold is kind of taking that and ran with it. And now you added guys like Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris into the fold of things, and Caris LeVert, in trade and stuff like that. Kind of look at Cleveland, for example, on that. Trying to get off topic too much, but, drafting guys like Darius Garland, Mobley, finding guys like Dean Wade and others. Now you kind of, using your assets to get Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, making free agent sounds like Max Strus. Now you're up and rolling there. San Antonio, same thing. The draft picks they've been made over the years. Now, Victor's out right now, but get my point. Vassell, Showan, finding guys in the drafted route and Champagne. So you kind of see these young teams, take their lumps for a while. Now you kind of see the fruit of their success. Detroit's sitting at the top of the East. Right behind them, I can say the same thing about the Raptors. The Raptors, surprisingly, are number 2 in the East. If you can believe that. Because I kind of had them pegged in the sort of in the playing in, but I ain't expect them 11-5 right now. I did not expect them 11-5 on November 23rd. Talking about the Toronto Raptors 11-5. I did not expect that. So these young teams are kind of like, take their lumps. If you got good ownership and a GM that can find and scout very good, I think you can sustain success. And those 4 teams I brought up, what do they have? Very good ownership. Very good GMs. A very good structure. So, I'll talk about this later on about the Lakers and the hell's going on there with them. But you got to have structure to succeed in all levels of athletic competition. High school, college, hell, look in the college side of things. If you don't got a good athletic director and a good head coach, your program is going to suffer. You lose money. But you got a good coach, good athletic director, know what he or she are doing, you can succeed. Like, look at my Alabama Crimson Tide. Yeah, I'm being a homer right now, but Greg Byrne, excellent GM. I mean, AD. Nate Oates, a fantastic head coach. Greg Byrne was his hire, and look and look where they are right now. A perennial contender. I couldn't say that about Alabama about 20 years ago, in the year 2000. And yeah, they made the NCAA tournament with Mark Goffrey and whatnot. I can't say that. I couldn't say it. I mean, could maintain success? Yeah. But it was good for a little bit, and then it just kind of dropped off. Now you sustained. Now going to the pros. Yeah, you keep sustaining success for a little bit. But as we've seen with the Spurs, if you can find hit and right piece and stuff like that over the years, you can keep it going for a good, very good long time. You hit on Tim Duncan, you roll that into the mid to the late 90s, winning championship. Then you roll that into the new century until you retired. And along the way, you drafted guys like Kawhi Leonard, Manu Ginobili, all that stuff. You kept that train going. Now you got lucky with Victor Wembanyama. You drafted a few guys along the way. Now, new coach, new structure, all that. You're 11-4 right now, tied the Lakers for third in the West. And still winning games with Victor out. And that's the main thing. Going back to Detroit, you're winning games with star players being out. That's when you know your structure is good. When you're winning games when your star players are out. Even right here, the Lakers. Even Luka, LeBron back in the fold, they still winning games when the star players are out. And that's what the structure has to be in sports to succeed. And the Pistons are doing that right now. Now, they're going for lucky number 13. Tomorrow against the Pacers. The Pacers, right now, like I said, they're kind of in the dumps right now. They're 2-14. Anthony Mathurin's leading them in points at 26 points a game. And Pascal Siakam, 24 points for him. Leading, kind of right behind him. Now, granted, Mathurin only played like 5 games this far this year. And I thought this team would be better, despite, Turner and Halpert being out. But this team, I don't know what's going on with it. I know the injuries happen, but damn. I thought, like I said, about structure and stuff like that. I thought the structure there will kind of keep things going. Kind of like we saw in the playoff run, in the finals, stuff like that. But it's like, damn, what the hell is really going on here? Now, can Detroit win this game? Sure. I think they will win this game, get lucky 13. But, this game's up in Detroit. I think, if you're the Pacers, you trying to lead, get some momentum and kind of crush Detroit and stop this winning streak. If you Rick Carlisle, you need something to kind of get your team back into motion and things. But it won't hurt the tank if you're the Pacers because you need talent there. But I think Rick Carlisle has too much pride to do that. But the injuries and stuff like that for the Pacers right now, the guard and stuff like that, and the way the Pistons been playing, Kate Cunningham's been playing, I got to give the nod to the Pistons to win Monday night to get lucky 13. And I'm going to say this before we go into the next segment. Triple-double for Kate Cunningham when we talk about that. And double-double for Jalen Duren to kind of take advantage of that low post down there. So, wrap this up. Shout out to the Pistons. They doing their thing. You know, how long the streak can go, who knows? But it'd be real funny if they can flip the script, from a couple of years ago when they went on that big time losing streak. It'd be funny that they can flip around a couple of years later and go like a 20+ game winning streak on their own. That'll be something in my eyes. All right. Take a quick break. On the other side of things, I thought about the young. What about the old? The LA Clippers. Let's talk about it. This is Fast Break here for Fast Break here for iSports Radio, your Detroit Pistons Sports. And I'll catch you on the other side.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back here to Fast Break here for iSports Radio, your Detroit Pistons Sports. If you're looking for D-Locke, he had a travel day today, so I'm riding solo here tonight. But thank y'all for tuning in with me tonight here on the show. You see on the bottom right here, follow iSports Radio on all your social media feeds, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe that button, hit the bell notification, and once our show goes live, or any show on the network goes live, you get that notification of us going live. And tune in once we're live and talk with us, chat with us, interact with us, be live with us here on iSports Radio. So do subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get those numbers up. We are on the road. I had it in my head. So I had everything right here. And I hate why YouTube, they changed their whole thing and stuff like that. So on the road to 500 for YouTube. So hit that subscribe button. Do give us a follow. Do a lot of great things in the network. So having said that, instead of, doing great things, whatnot, the LA Clippers have not been doing great things right now. Our 24-hour shows account, my Fast Break at ISR. The Clippers, if they didn't have James Harden, they'll be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. You know, some of y'all probably listening and saying, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Well, I live in the South. I live in Alabama. There are places of water here that I would not like to be stuck on without some instrument to get me to a body of land. The Mississippi runs through here. There are other big lakes and stuff like Lake Garnesville. That's to the east. There's other rivers, stuff like that, Tennessee River, all that stuff. If I haven't get stuck, in these bodies of water around here, I don't know that I'd like to be stuck in those areas. It would suck. Plus, being a black man in Alabama, you stuck, then it gets dark. I can swim, but you don't know what's in the water too. That's the Clippers right now. They up Ship's Creek without a paddle. The roster construction, which I think, we like the John Collins move, but that's really about it. If we really be real about it. So far, the Clippers are 5-11, plagued by injuries. Kawhi Leonard is out for the foreseeable future. I got him on my fantasy basketball team, and he has helped me a couple times. Other than that, he's just been on the bench forever. The 4 roster fits. Trading away Norman Powell has really showed that it's hurt this team. And I said it last year, Norman Powell should have been an all-star. And I put that blame on LeBron for not bowing out of the all-star game last year and maybe let Norman Powell get the nod. I hate how he waited till last minute to not let that happen. So he should have been all-star last year. Now he is playing very well for the Miami Heat, and Miami Heat are sitting third in the East. Right now, well, after the game is ended, the Clippers lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Another team I just talked about. 120-105. Ivan Zubac, 33 points, 18 rebounds. Oh, Kawhi Leonard did come back. Excuse me. Kawhi Leonard did come back, 26 minutes, 20 points, 3 rebounds for him. James Harden, 19 points, 0 from 8 from three-point land. So I should change this. It should be 5-12 thus far this season. Chris Dunn, 9 points for him. Don Collins, 5 points for him, 3 rebounds. That's abysmal. Kobe Sanders, 5 points for him in 27 minutes. Nicholas Batum, 6 points for him. Chris Paul, 2 points for him. Brook Lopez, 11 minutes for him, no points for him. And then after that, it was just the young guys getting time. And let me tell you this about the young guys. They drafted Kobe Brown a few years ago. He's been in the league for a couple years now. Shout out to Huntsville. Because Kobe Brown is a kid from Huntsville, Alabama, with the Lee High School. Now, some of y'all probably saying, like, damn, he didn't go to Alabama. Anyways, he went to Mizzou, had a fabulous career there. Gets drafted by the Clippers late second round. And I thought, with development and stuff like that, man, could be a good, nice stretch for them or a good, solid rotation for them off the bench. Hasn't really materialized like that, like I hoped for him. And I thought that going with the injury stuff like that in the front court, I thought that'd be a good situation for him. But now you look at the Clippers having their rotation and stuff like that. The names I just went out: Leonard, Batum, Paul Lopez. Old guys. Talking about 35 plus. Me and Brooke Lopez, the same graduating class. 37 years old. So Clippers are sitting 5-12. They're in the bottom with the Sacramento Kings, Dallas Mavericks, and the New Orleans Pelicans. I could throw in Utah in there as well, but I think Utah is a better team than the Clippers right now. The Clippers, the last game they won was against Charlotte. They win 131-116. James Harden had 55 points. He was on the clock, had 55 points, 7 assists. Zubac, 18, 9, and 6 assists as well. After that, Chris Paul, 3 points for him, 8 assists on the other side of things. Great showing by James Harden there against the Hornets. But like I just alluded to, if they didn't have James Harden with that squad, would they manage two wins thus far? Will they be on the same level as the Pelicans? And kind of going with the theme tonight, structure and all that stuff. We talked about it on the show for years. When Steve Ballmer took over this team, and I still hop on it for years to come. I understand trying to win and stuff like that. But sometimes you got to tell non-basketball people, I know he's the owner and one of the richest people in the world. But sometimes you got to tell folks what it is sometimes. And that brain trust at that time should told Steve Ballmer, hey, we'll just kind of bring it down, tear it down, build around this young guy named SGA, and we just go from there. That's what should have happened years ago. But you remember at that time, when he bought the team, he wanted to stay in contention. That's his prerogative. And remember, they went to 6 games with the Warriors that year. Pat Bev, Lou Williams, that crew at that time. And they played hard and tough. Now you see their moves over the years, like, getting Kawhi Leonard, very big move. Kawhi Leonard been trying to get back to LA any way possible. We hear about the Lakers or Clippers. He got his wish. He wanted Paul George, and they made the big time trade for Paul George. They sent along SGA to kind of move on that process to get Paul George in the mix. And at one point, you made the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi Leonard. But that's kind of like the height of this team. You made the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi Leonard. Paul George, Terrence Mann. Who else was on that roster? PJ Tucker, I believe, Zubac. That's kind of like the peak of this team right now. Now you kind of fast forward things now. SGA, a guy that, if I was like GM, whatever, I'll tell Steve Ballmer, hey, we're going to can we build around this guy? 6'5" point guard, can handle the ball, can shoot, defend very well, to build around him for the future and whatnot, and just kind of take on lunch right now. The Lakers, they ain't really, they had to take headlines, but they're not really a championship contender. So take out lumps for now and they come out on the upper end of things down the line looking good. That's what should have happened. Look where OKC is at now. Just talked about it. Look where the Lakers at right now. They got very lucky getting Luka Doncic. Got Luka Doncic. Austin Reeves really come to his own. But the main point is getting Luka, and then now you got JJ Redick at him, who's starting to really come into his own as a head coach. Now, what do you got now on the other side of things for Clipperland? A very nice arena. I can't take that away from him. Bravo to him. Spent the $10 billion, built the Intuit Dome. Very beautiful. Much needed. And I always get praised to Steve Ballmer for doing that. And that's for the betterment of the league. Dave Stern probably in his grave probably saying, like, damn, I should pushed out what's that fucker's name? Oh God, what's that previous owner's Clippers name? Donald Sterling. Yeah. Dave Stern probably looking on and say, damn, I should put this motherfucker out. Excuse my language. A long time ago. To get somebody like this. So now, the only thing you would have to show for if you're Steve Ballmer, what so far, there's a West Conference run that you got beat by the Phoenix Suns. Now, a new nice arena that you make it head over fist of it. Can't take that away. Other than that, you and your superstar embedded in a scandal about money laundering, along with the superstar's uncle. That that we talked about a couple months ago. He couldn't fake the funk to get his cash. You signed Bradley Beal for the cheap out of his buyout from Phoenix, and now he's out for the year for a hip injury. What's that got to do? What's that going to do? And Mark is saying in the chat, the Clippers are just cursed. Are they cursed? Are they cursed, or they just had sorry folks that's run their business for the past for decades? I love Elgin Baylor, one of Lakers all-time greats, all-time great in basketball. But we can't sit here and say that he did a great job with the Clippers. All right, touched about Donald Sterling. Enough said there. The cycle of coaches, the bad draft picks, bad free agent signings. And some bad luck did happen to him. Sean Livingston, breaking his leg when he's coming to his own, that didn't help things. Lamar Odom and his issues early on in his career, didn't help things. So forth. Doc Rivers not getting that Bob City group over the hump. I don't know. It could be cursed, but just like you think, once you get past certain things, get certain people out of the way, get that bad juju out the way, you may think things will be on the up and up, but it really hasn't happened. You know what I'm saying? It really hasn't happened. And I texted D-Lock the other day. I told him, part of me wants them to have one of the worst records in the NBA just to see where that draft pick. I mean, the draft pick goes to OKC, but I just want to see where it falls in the lottery. Because if that pick drop, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this nice freshman class. I'll probably talk about more here in a second. Let me pull this up. I had this group up. Let's see. We talked about this nice group. I had it. A group of freshmen in college basketball right now. AJ Demista, Cameron Boozer, the passing kid from Kansas, so forth. We're playing excellent ball right now. Let me see if I can get that photo saved. Here we go. I found it. These group of guys right here. If y'all looking at this, that's a hell of a list right there. And some super sophomores out there, like Stojakovic, for example, for Illinois. Some excellent players right now in the world of college basketball. You can't tell me that if the Clippers won that win in 25 games and that pick lands in the top 3 for OKC, these list of kids right here who are playing excellent ball right now, if one of those kids landed to OKC, that OKC can't keep this machine going for forever and ever. Well, but AJ Demista landed with OKC in this current construction. What a Cameron Boozer, who's like a walking double-double machine for Duke right now. What if he lands OKC in this current roster construction? That's a hell of a pick and roll with him and SGA for years to come. Caleb Wilson, Nate Ament from Tennessee, Darius Acuff for Arkansas, Koa Pete for Arizona. I could go on. The young and the old. The young are getting richer, and the old are withering away. And for the Clippers, they're withering very fast. Their money is tied up in guys Harden and Leonard. Type up here. Chris Paul announced his retirement over the weekend. I'll talk about that get down here. Paul confirmed on social media that this season will be his last, riding back in North Carolina with a ride. So much left. Grateful for this last one. Chris Paul's retiring. 12-time All-Star. 9-time All-Defensive Team member, 2006 Rookie of the Year, 5-time NBA assist leader, ranked second all-time in career assists and steals, only behind John Stockton, who about played as long as he did. Member of the 75th anniversary team, played for 7 franchises. And think about Chris Paul. Think about Chris Paul in his career. And let me pull up this right here. He played for 7 franchises, drafted by the Hornets when they were down in New Orleans. And then, had that couple years in OKC. But Hornets, Clippers, Rockets, Thunder, Suns. I'm going to stop right there. Had an excellent career at the Hornets. Excellent career at Hornets. And, one thing about them, they couldn't get over that hump there. And then I think, the biggest what if for his career, and I just went over his highlights there, his accolades. I think the biggest what if for the Chris Paul is the LA Lakers trade. Now, if y'all remember about this trade, let me try to get that trade. Let me pull that trade up because it's going to be talked about his legacy for years to go. Let me try to pull it up. But if y'all remember, the trade was Chris Paul. If y'all remember, Chris Paul going to the Lakers to pair with Kobe Bryant. Pau Gasol going to the Rockets. And then guys like Kevin Martin, Louis Scola, Lamar Odom, and Dragic going to the Hornets. And if you remember from this trade, the Lakers, if you look at the Lakers side of things, they were banking big on Andrew Bynum. Now, could they flip Bynum for Dwight Howard? Possible. But remember, they were backing big on Andrew Bynum there and just give up your 2 more dependable front court mates in Gasol and Lamar Odom. Spoke volumes there. And then this trade kind of really just made the downfall in Lamar Odom's career. He just kind of just went away. And then you had the Kardashian marriage going on too and all that stuff. But I gotta remember, and this is what kind of made me mad about David Stern about this. Like, he always cited like it wasn't fair and addressed concerns from other teams. Like, dog, the Hornets are getting back a 20-point scorer in Martin, a 6-man a year in Lamar Odom, Louis Scola, a very good average NBA player, and Goran Dragic, a very solid point guard. If you kind of look into the lens now of things, what a bad trade. Goran Dragic eventually became an all-star. Lamar, he probably played well. Louis Scola, a very good 4-man. And Kevin Martin, a very good wing. That's like four guys you can start a lineup right there. But it's the benching and moaning like Popovich. I think Mark Cuban complained about it. But if you, I would like to ask those guys now, like, look at how things transpired now in the context of that trade. Would y'all let it go through? Knowing what y'all know now, okay, Bynum's bad knees and whatnot. You know, Chris Paul had a little injury history. You know, the injuries start piling up for Kobe Bryant and whatnot. Knowing what y'all know now, would y'all let this trade go through? That's the honest question right there. I would ask that to those guys. I mean, can't ask David Stern, but I'll ask Adam Silver. Because I just rather off the trade to y'all, and saying it now and knowing how some of these guys' careers are, when hindsight is not like that trade. You know, Goran Dragic became a very good starter in this league for years. So I think, you know, they got scared of the combination of Kobe and Chris Paul. You know, Kobe, Chris Paul, made a world peace. After that, you know, what else did the Lakers have? You trade away Pau Gasol. And you made your body have bad knees. So that's like one of the big what else of his career. Could he win a championship with the Lakers? With Kobe? Could he be the new face of the Lakers? A lot of questions there. But, you know, he eventually got traded to the Clippers. You know, they had the Lob City run him, you know, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, you know, those guys there, Matt Barnes. And they never really got over the hump there with them. You know, nice solid roster construction with those group of guys, but they never really got over the hump. But with Chris Paul there, you know, he always had this sustainability to, you know, always be in contention as a team. And then once that Clipper run ran out, you know, got traded to the Rockets. And, you know, that game 7 against the Warriors, they're that close, but damn. It feel like, you know, points of that game, they shot themselves out the game. I think if any time he's going to win, well, I know he made the finals with the Suns, but I think if you think a clear shot to win the championship, I think it was right there and then with that group with James Harden. You know, Clint Capella down low, Ariza. I'm trying to think who else was on that teams round then. Hell of a run right there with that group. Then, you know, gets traded to the Thunder for Russ and made that squad pretty damn good. Elevate that squad. I think, you know, that's when, you know, you had SGA there. Let me double check that. Yeah, the Russell Westbrook trade in 2019. And then, of course, you know, you had the COVID and all that shutdown and stuff like that as well. Trying to pull up basketball reference. There we go. So they finished 44-28, fifth in the West. You know, Billy Donovan is still a coach. That's when they did the Paul George trade, all that stuff. So you do the Paul George trade in July 10th to the Clippers for SGA, all those guys, and then 6 days later you did the Russ, because Russ stayed in OKC for Paul George, and then it's like, damn, you leaving? I'm leaving too. So you trade Russ to Houston for Chris Paul. So you had that trade go down as well, and then you really kind of had a hell of a season with that crew. We're trying to let's see, pull up that season. So yeah, they lost 4-3 in the first round to the Houston Rockets. So each stop that he's gone on the way, he's really elevated that team. So much so that hell, they almost beat the Rockets in the first round in the bubble. And then, he get eventually traded to the Suns, and then, had a very good run there, made the NBA Finals for the first time in his career. And, at first, you thought, damn, they were going up, and then Giannis and Chris Middleton took over, and then that's all she wrote, and the Bucks win the championship at 4-2. But damn, each team that he has gone to, he has really helped them out. He has helped them. He has elevated his play. And he may be a hard ass, but he's really a guy that you want on your squad to take you to the next level. And he'll go down one of the all-time greats in this league. Future Hall of Famer, no doubt. All right, before I get out of here, going over some sports stuff going on today in the association. The Lakers are up right now in the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City. 62-55. Luka Doncic, 15 points for him, 5 assists. Austin Reeves, 12 points for him, 6 rebounds. LeBron, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Rui Hachimura, 10 points for him thus far. 6 points off the bench for Marcus Smart. Jake LaRavia, 5 points for him for the Utah side of things. And by the way, Utah been playing very well. I know the record's not saying much, but Utah been playing well. Keontae George, 11 points. Nurkic, 9 points for him, 7 rebounds. Lauri Markkanen, 6 points for him, 4 rebounds. And I don't know what the record would be by the All-Star break, but Lauri Markkanen deserves an All-Star nod for his play this far this year. 6 points for him for Markkanen. And to touch on Utah real quick. Last Sunday, when I got off the show from here, I was like, I need to watch something. I watched the Jazz and watched the Bulls. 2 overtimes. Markkanen and Keontae George have a hell of a game last Sunday. 47 points for Markkanen, 33 for Keontae George. Hell of games for them. These two, and Keontae George coming a long way for him. A guy from Baylor. Isaiah Collier off the bench, 16 points for him, 9 assists for him in that matchup. And for the Bulls side of things, Kobe White was supposed to be on minutes restriction, but he had 27 points on his game back, 8 assists. 26 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists for Josh Giddey. Vooch, who's playing very damn well this year, 21 points, 12 points, and 12 rebounds for him. So, this is a hell of a season with this crew. Hell of a season with the Utah Jazz. And this is why I kind of talk about structure and stuff like that. Yeah, the young guys, they take their lumps and stuff like that. I didn't mention about Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey probably played 10 minutes in that matchup, but fouled out very quickly. But the young guys come along very nice, like George, Ace Bailey, Isaiah Collier, Walski. Clayton Jr. didn't play that game. Hendricks, he's still out. What's that kid's name? Kevin Conroy, Cody Williams, if he comes along nicely. So you got a nice core. If Utah and manage those guys right, you got a very good future for Utah. Marketing's a proven scorer. So the West is tough, but I think you do weather the storm a little bit. I think things will go a long way for the squad. So I like, what Utah's done. They play very hard. They play strong. I just think, just in a tough. I mean, right now, just tough. It's tough in the West. And you got other teams kind of like them in their level, like Portland, that you can put in the same breath, in the same level field with them, kind of playing a little bit better. So, but shout out to Utah. They're playing very well thus far this year. The Raptors, 119-109 over the Nets. Scotty Barnes, 17 points for him, 16 for RJ Barrett, 14 for Brandon Ingram. Off the bench was the main thing. Jacoby Walter, 16 points for him. Reddy Dick, 12 points. Shaid, 11 points for him off the bench. OKC, very big against the Portland Trailblazers, 109-76. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 37 points for him. Thus far, 7 assists. Isaiah Hartenstein, 7 points for him, 15 rebounds. AJ Mitchell, 20 points for him off the bench. But looking down the box scores, everybody's contributing. And yes, Shai's having a big scoring day, but everybody else is kind of contributing to everything's on the court. Portland, Jeremy Grant, 21 points for him, kind of leading the way for Portland. Speaking of Portland, Chauncey Billups, I think he pleaded not guilty for his charges in his poker scandal. Maybe legal gambling, but he pleaded not guilty for that on his federal charges. So I have to wait and see what comes out of that. But thus far, updating that, pleading no guilty for that. So Spurs up 56-49 on the Suns right now at halftime. No victory with Miamba, but the Spurs got things kind of comfortable right now. De'Aaron Fox, 13 points for him. Luke Cornett, 8 points for him. Harrison Barnes, who's been playing very well. And that game against who they play on against the Grizzlies this past Tuesday, really showed out and played well for the Spurs in that fourth quarter. 7 points for him thus far. But kind of like I said, even with Victor out, you got the other guys filling the void. Vassell, 2 points, but 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Champagne, 7 points for him, 7 rebounds. So you kind of get what I'm saying there. Keldon Johnson, 5 points for him. And then on the Phoenix side of things, and shout out to Colin Gillespie, who's really kind of come in, played very well with guys like Jalen Green being now and Grayson Allen being now. 3 points for him, 4 assists, but a guy's been playing very well for them and should be in contention for a rookie game spot somewhere. Well, no, actually, he's been in the league for a couple years, excuse me, but should get consideration for like a rising sophomore or some shit like that. But you get my point. Dylan Brooks leads the way for 12 points for them, 10 points for Devin Booker, Jordan Goodwin, 8 points for him, 6 rebounds right there for the Phoenix Suns. Finals that went final earlier. The Celtics 138 over the Orlando Magic to 129. Desmond Bain 18 points for him, 30 points off the bench for Jet Howard. Probably his best game in his career thus far. No Paolo Banchero, but Van Frogger at 15 points, 8 rebounds. And with Banchero being out, Rodner's got to be at least a 25-point game score. 15 points, that's not going to cut it. And I think, maybe and Chase Richardson had 18 points. Something I probably ask D-Locke here next week. If this team fall on the wayside, do you try to make a move, make a move to get better somewhere? Because if I'm paying Franz Wagner this money and he's not really kind of elevating his play, why I'm paying this money to be a 15-point game scorer? That's not going to work. Boston, Jaylen Brown, 35 points for him to lead the way for the Celtics there. Anthony Simons, 23 points off the bench for him. The Heat, 127-117 over the Philadelphia 76ers. Noah Powell brought him up early, 32 points for him. Khalil Ware, 20 points, 16 rebounds for him. One of those games for him that he played well, and then sometimes he'd be down here. Well, he took advantage of the lack of size that Philly has and played very well. So shout out to Khalil Ware. Bam Adebayo, 18 points, 13 rebounds for him. Davion Mitchell, 8 points, 12 assists for him. 22 points off the bench for Jamie Jaquez. I think he's kind of fighting himself once again on the side of things. For Philly, Tyrese Maxey keep up his scoring tear, 27 points for him. No VJ Edge comfort for them tonight. No Joel Embiid, no Kelly Oubre on that side of things. Trenton Walford, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists for him off the bench. Paul George is 10 points for him in that matchup. But 24 points for Andre Drummond. Shout out to him. Maybe he got one more big contract. Finally, the Atlanta Hawks, 113-110 over the Charlotte Hornets. Con Knuppel, 28 points for him, 6 rebounds. Like I talked about in the draft. One of the better draft picks, and I think he's a godsend because Brandon Miller's out, and thank goodness you got to him to kind of offset Brandon Miller's missing time once again. And I know they picked up Brandon Miller's option, but if Knuppel can continue to show this progress, do you move off of him? Something to consider. I know talk about Kate Cunningham and his injury struggles and stuff like that, but Brandon Miller's another one. Like, can he overcome those struggles? And you suddenly got your replacement in tow. Can he overcome that? Colin Sexton, 22 points for him in the starting lineup once again because LaMelo Ball is hurt again. And like I said earlier, if LaMelo Ball wants to trade, then trade him. $21 points for Bridges. On the Atlanta side of things, Jalen Johnson, 28 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds. I'll echo what Vince Carter said about him on Tuesday. Should be the all-star. Jalen Johnson is having an excellent year thus far. Dicey Dell, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 23 points for him as well. No Porzingis once again for this team, but Trae Young's still out, but this team's still playing good ball for the Atlanta Hawks. Before I get out of here, I got to talk about this game. Because, I am an Alabama guy. Yes, I did not go to Alabama, but I'm a big-time Alabama basketball fan. And I got to talk about this matchup that happened the other day. Got to talk about it. Wednesday, Alabama went up to Chicago. They played then 8th-ranked Illinois in a hell of a matchup and a very electric crowd up in the Giannis Center. They win 90-86 in that matchup against the Founding Illini. 24 points for Liberian Fallon, 5 assists. Taylor Bow, 12 points for him. Aiden Holloway, 11 points for him. Houston Malik, come off the bench, 10 points for him. Keaton Bristow, talk more about in a second, but 10 points for him, 8 rebounds for him in his first game in action. On the Illinois side of things, Sarkovich, 26 points for him, 3 rebounds, 5 turnovers. Boswell, 22 points for him, 7 assists for him. This game was very high paced, very back and forth. And I think I'll speak on the Illinois side of things real quick. First of all, Sarkovich is one of the better scorers in the land of basketball. He can score and shoot out the outside shot. Those free throws got to get better. If he's going to be in late game situations, come NCAA tournament, and they need him to come up big in the free throw line, that's got to be better. The way he shot free throws and stuff against 2 for 5 against Alabama, that's abysmal. And that's 3 points for a guy who's one of the better scorers in the country. That's 3 points you leave off the board there. And your strategy changes if you're down by 1, maybe trying to go for the win. That has to be better. The free throw shooting by Illinois is abysmal anyway. 13 for 22. Dangle cut it. And you're going against an Alabama team that you got to be scoring 90 points plus to kind of keep up with anyways. No, dog, that's not going to cut it. 13 for 22 for a free throw line, that's not going to cut it against a team like that. And I think Underwood understood that in his press conference as well. And if you're Alabama, Liberian Fallon, once again, second half kind of came alive, really kind of led the way for Crimson Tide. But I want to talk about this guy right here. Kenneth Bistro had an excellent game. First game in, transfer from Charleston State, 6'10" kid. Just kind of like the energy change, his defense, rebounding, running the court. Really kind of put a boost to Crimson Tide. And if they get productions like that from him, in which I think they need production down low because Aiden Sherrill only has 6 points. Lloyd Wilson only played like 6 minutes, but didn't do much. Sherrill should be more along as a sophomore, but hasn't come out yet. This Briscoe kid coming in, like a seasoned veteran coming in, distributing plays, stuff like that, rebounding well, getting over the back calls on the Illinois big men. And you kind of saw the difference when he was in the game compared to others. If he's doing this, having this high energy with Alabama and stuff like that, this Alabama team is going to be scary. But this game was a hell of a game. I enjoyed watching it. I don't know, it's kind of early to put I like Illinois, but I can't put them ahead of Michigan State yet. I'm watching that like, are they one of the better teams in the Big Ten? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at the standings right now. I know we ain't got a conference play yet, but I like Michigan State. They're 17th right now. I like them a lot. Michigan, they're ranked 7th. Pretty good. I still got Michigan State a little bit better. Nebraska, 6-0 so far. Illinois 5-1. USC 4-0. Purdue, probably one of the best teams in the country, and they beat Alabama last week. They're 6-0. So the Big Ten is going to be a fight again. Indiana's 5-0. Iowa's 5-0. They got a new coach. Oregon's 4-0 thus far this year. USC 4-0. Northwestern 5-1. Penn State 5-1. UCLA 5-1. Maryland 4-1. Buzz Williams there. Rutgers 4-1. Washington 4-1. Wisconsin 4-1. Minnesota 4-2. The Big Ten is going to be a fun watch, and different styles too. A lot of different styles there in the Big Ten that we're going to talk about throughout the season. So, if you're a Big Ten fan, enjoy y'all who you're with for. Enjoy your early success right now because once conference play kicks in, it's going to be a bomber. A very hectic bomber. So, but we will keep an eye on that for the rest of the season. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. I ain't gonna go for this much, but when you get the basketball flowing and the words start flowing, the talking and stuff like that, hey, I can talk basketball all night. But thank you for tuning in with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. D-Locke will be back with us next week. Do follow him on Twitter /X at black-813. That's black-813. Do follow the show's page at Fast Break IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on the road to 500 here at iSports Radio. Do give us a like on this show. Follow the iSports Radio page. Hit that little bell notification so you get, once we go live, there's us here at Fast Break. Set Point, 3-and-out series. Shin Pass and Shenanigans. Once you get that notification, we go live. Hey, we're here. So do follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all your social media feeds: X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well. Do follow me on Twitter /X Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Do follow the Crooks Process on Instagram and TikTok there as well. Just follow me there. I know I ain't post much on Instagram except for stories. TikTok, I just did a video about the Titans losing to the Seahawks. Progress, but we're still losing. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. The NBA season and the NBA Cup is still rolling along. The eliminations are happening. The numbers are up in the NBA. I love the freshmen in the college basketball world right now. So there's a lot of things happening right now in the world of basketball. A lot of positives. So hopefully things stay this way. And we'll be here to talk about it. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I'll talk to y'all next week. Along with D-Locke. Peace.